Hi everyone, welcome back to Keza Space. My name is Titi and I'm very excited that you are here with me today. I hope that you're doing well and I pray God's protection over you. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session where I'm going to be answering some questions about me. And so I hope that this video will help you get to know me a little bit better. I also want to thank those of you guys who took the time to reply to my WhatsApp post by sending me some questions that I'm going to be using on the video today. Also, I'm going to be using a notebook today, so I hope you don't mind. I know a lot of you guys are techies out there, so I don't have an extra phone with me today. My husband is not home, so I'm going to be using a notebook. I hope, like I said, you don't mind. I know it's an old-fashioned way, but I don't mind it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start on these questions. I received a lot of questions, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to answer all of them in this video. I'm thinking about doing a part 2, but I'm not sure yet. But if it turns out, I'm gonna do a part 2 to answer the remaining questions. So let's go ahead and get started on these questions and waste no time. The first question, it says, do you have any siblings? I do. I have 7 siblings. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. I have 3 older sisters and 1 younger sister, and my brothers are both older than me. And we actually used to be 8, but we lost our brother in 2015, so we're 7 now. And then, who is your favorite sibling? Is that a tricky question? I don't have a favorite sibling, honestly. I feel like I'm close to all my siblings. I have a special relationship with each one of them. And so, honestly, I'm not gonna be like, oh, so and so is my favorite. I feel like I'm so close to all of them. And yeah, I have this bond with all of them, so I don't have one particular favorite siblings. And I'm not only answering this to be nice, it's the truth. And then the next question is, did you want your firstborn to be a girl or a boy? For my firstborn, I always wanted a girl. I remember when I was a teen, my older sister had 2 girls. So I always used to go over to her house and I would be like, I babysat for her. And so around that time, we'll be doing like hair, makeup, and I'll be like teaching them how to paint their nails and just doing all this girly girl stuff together. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I hope when I get married and get pregnant, I'm gonna have a girl. And so when it came time for me to have a baby, I was pregnant, I was always like, God, please help me have a girl. I always wanted like a mini me. And so thankfully, God answered my prayers and He gave me a girl as my firstborn. There's nothing wrong with having a boy. It was just my preference. I wanted a girl as my firstborn, and God answered me. The next question is, how are you dealing with COVID? I would say that we're doing well, and I'm thankful that we're healthy. I'm healthy, my family's healthy, and everyone around me are healthy, and so I'm very grateful for that. I also want to encourage everyone to continue being cautious. Wear your mask, wash your hands as much as possible, carry a hand sanitizer with you everywhere you go, and also keep that 6 feet distance as we are instructed by the CDC. And so I know COVID sucks, and we miss doing all the fun things that we used to do before COVID. And so yeah, just try to stay careful out there, guys. This virus is serious, and I also pray for the families that are affected by this virus. And I know a lot of people that passed away from this COVID, and other people are still fighting for their lives in the hospital with this virus. So we're praying for everyone that's going through this. And so COVID is tough, but we're just trying to stay safe as much as possible, for sure. And then the next question is, have you been out of the country? Yes, I've been out of the country twice. I moved to the US in 2000, and so my first time going out of the country was in 2017, and I visited Rwanda. So I grew up in Congo, or I was born in Congo, then we moved around, then I ended up in the US. So I came in the US when I was 6. So ever since then, I never went back, and I decided to go back in 2017 to just visit Africa and get to know my family members that I didn't know, and also just get to know the culture and everything else that I feel like I missed when I was growing up here. And so the second time I went back to Rwanda, um, I went back to Rwanda and I ended up getting married in 2018 when I went there the second time. So yeah, in the future I hope to visit other places, but so far I have only been to Rwanda. And then the next question is, what was your favorite subject in school? My favorite subject in school would definitely be writing. I used to write a lot, you know. I just felt like it was a form of expressing myself through writing. And so writing also helped me, like, you know, relieve some of my stress, and it helped me, you know, put down my emotions and what I was going through. And I feel like it was a free therapy for me. And even up to this day, I still use writing when I'm going through a particular situation. I just write it down and it helped me relieve the stress, like I said. So yes, even when I'm planning, you know, my day, I usually write it down, or just my schedule in general. I usually just write down what I need to do, and it helps me keep myself organized. And so I consider writing one of my favorite subjects. And then, who is your first best friend? That's a good question. My first best friend would definitely be Tiffany. So when I moved to America, I didn't really know a lot of people, and so the school that I attended to, I used to have to ride the school bus to get there. And so I used to have this close friend of mine that we always used to sit together. So one week she went on vacation, and so Tiffany sat next to me while she was gone. And so when she came back, Tiffany did not want to leave her seat, and so she didn't want to move, and my other friend ended up giving up that seat to her. And so ever since then we became super close, and we actually found out that we lived next to each other, and she would like come to my house, I would go to her house, we would just do sleepovers, and like, yeah, that's how she became my friend, and we're still best friends up to this day. I have a lot of questions. I hope that you know, the questions that I didn't get to answer, I hope that you don't get offended for those of you guys who sent them to me. And so I'm so sorry in advance. My next question is, do you have any hobbies? I do. I love working out whenever I get a chance to. I know I used to do a lot of gymming, like in 2015, 2016. I lost so much weight because I was in the gym like, you know, 24/7, literally. My friend and I used to work out like 4 times a day, and so I lost so much weight during that time. I also love playing sports. I played sports when I was in elementary school and then middle school. I did basketball, I did running, and I did volleyball. In high school, I attempted to play soccer, but that was not successful. I ended up quitting because I just felt like, what's the point of running around the field? Like, I felt so exhausted at the end of the practice, and so I ended up quitting. So yes, I love staying active, doing any activities that involve my body moving. And my other hobby is fashion. I love dressing up and looking pretty. I mean, what girl doesn't like looking beautiful and all that? I love, you know, just being dressed and, you know, having my hair done, and just, yeah, just fashion in general. And so my other hobby, I would say writing. Like I mentioned, it's one of my favorite things to do. I consider that as a hobby too. So yeah, I love writing too. The other question is, how did you move to America? So I moved to America. It's a long story, but I'm gonna try to explain it in short, so I don't take too much time. So we used to live in Bujamai in '98, and then there was a civil war that broke out, targeting the Tutsi tribe. So excuse me. So we ended up being captured and we were put in prison. We moved around from like different, areas, and so we were in prison for a year and 6 months. Then we were moved from there. We went to Kinshasa. We stayed for like a couple months, or I don't remember exactly how long. Then we were moved to Cameroon. Cameroon, we stayed there for like a year, almost 2 years. Then we moved to America as refugees from Cameroon, and that's how I ended up coming to the US. And so the last question I'm gonna answer is, how would you raise your kids? Are you considering raising them your African culture or the American culture, since you grew up here? I'm definitely considering raising my kids with my African culture, because I believe that they need to grow up knowing who they are, and they need to love themselves as who they are, and be proud of their culture. And so, with that being said, I will be raising them with my African culture. Not that there is anything wrong with American culture, but I just feel like I consider my African culture more than the American culture. So I have actually started teaching my daughter my language, my native language, and so I can see that she's understanding some of the words that I'm using, and that's giving me hope that in the future she'll be able to speak it through, like speak my language. So yeah. And then the last question is, who is your role model? I consider my mom my role model, just because I feel like she went through so much in her lifetime and she's so strong. And so, if I could be half of the woman she is, I would feel accomplished. She has been through a lot, like in '98 when we were in prison. So, my cousin who had a family passed away, and his wife passed away. And so, my mom ended up like taking care of our family and my cousin's family, and she was raising a baby who was 6 months, and she was pretty much doing everything that the mom needed to do for that baby to keep her alive as much as possible. And so I think my mom is so brave and so strong, so that's why I consider her as my role model. So yeah. So guys, that was the last question that I'm gonna be that I answer on this video. So like I said, I will be thinking about doing a part 2 of this, and if I do, I'll go ahead and post it and you'll see it in the next video. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you like this video. Go ahead, comment, subscribe, and share to this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Jerusalem, ikayalami